So if you are here, please say hello. I cannot wait to talk about this tonight. Oh my gosh. So what's up with the vagus nerve and what's up with the how does it affect our gut health? You guys, you know that I love talking, well, and I think it's really honestly, if I'm being 100% transparent, it is because if you've ever had gut health issues, if you've ever had digestion issues, you know that there's something going on that you cannot figure out. You can't you can't um you you don't know what the secret combination is. You know that something's happening differently than what you're used to. You're having digestive issues. You don't really know where to start. There's a million opinions out there on what to do. And here's what I'm going to tell you. Well, Bella wants to hear it too. Bella, go see daddy. Go see daddy. Where's dad? Hold on one second. Hang on. Don't go away. Don't go away. Okay, you can see my quasi studio here. It doesn't matter where you go live as long as you go live. So if you are live, if you are here, say hellos. Please say hello. I This is right like such a cool um conversation because I don't know about you guys, but I can tell you that I have been studying gut health for quite a while because of my own journey. Okay. I've always been into health and wellness. Kim Miller, from Northern California. You can see my studio kind of going on here. It is my den. It is under construction. You can see that nothing's finished here, and it's fine. It doesn't matter because the most important thing is that we get to chat. So I don't worry about my surroundings as much as I worry about showing up because this is too important not to talk about it. And I've been hearing a lot. I've done a lot of research as of late about gut health. Why? Because I'm personally affected by it, and I know anybody here, if you've ever had gut issues, digestion issues, raise your hand in the comments, would you? Because you know what? You're not alone, and this is one topic that is super frustrating. Everybody has opinions. We can try all the different things, but at the end of the day, we still are not exactly sure what the magic trick is to getting everything healthy. And here's what I'm learning: the vagus nerve, and I've heard of the vagus nerve, never done a bunch of research on it until lately because we've been talking a lot about microbiome, but more importantly, we've been talking a lot about inflammation in our bodies and how inflammation shows up in the way of weight gain. It shows up in digestion issues. It shows up in brain fog. It shows up in so many ways that I'm sure that anybody watching can relate to. Okay. There's something, I mean, you know, if we're alive and ticking, there's probably something that we've had to deal with that we've been trying to figure out. And the hard thing for me has been, since I've always been into health and wellness and fitness, really never had too much. I mean, I've had food sensitivities that seem to have increased as I've gotten older, and I never really understood that. And I really thought the more I've checked into to figure out what different things I was sensitive to, the list just kept getting longer. And I thought to myself, no, that can't be right. We are human beings and we are born to eat. We should be able to eat food. And if we're not able to eat food, we got to figure out why our gut's not happy about it. Okay. So there is something very wrong with the microbiome if that's happening. And we have to understand what that is so that we can make it happy again to get to a good place with our health. You know what I'm saying? Hi there. I see we've got some people live. Tell me where you're coming in from. I love having this conversation. If you want to ask questions, please do. This is such a popular subject. And I'm here to tell you, if you have suffered with this, you're not alone. But let's get to the crux of what the vagus nerve is all about. Okay. I've been doing a little research and I came across an article and it says 8 ways the vagus nerve is involved in your digestion. And man, did that make my ears go up. Okay. Listen, here's what it is. The anatomy of the the vagus nerve. It exits the brainstem, innervates muscles of the face, throat, and branches into the ear. It innervated the SA node of our heart, and most importantly, it innervates our entire digestive tract. That is why it's so imperative that we see gut mobility and health issues. That's why we see that. That's why when we see them, we want to look more closely at the vagus nerve. So anybody that's, I highly encourage you to go there. Okay. There is a lot to know about the vagus nerve. Listen, it says, oh my gosh, what do we know about the vagus nerve? It says, oh, the optimal vagus nerve function drives your digestion, assimilation, and elimination. Let's discuss this, shall we? And listen, I don't know why this just went dark. It went dark over here, and I'm not sure why, what happened. I have no idea. Oh, I must have connection issues. It's okay. You're still here. That's all I care about. Give me a wave if you're still here. I really hope you're still here. Okay. Listen, so the vagus nerve is super important because it affects, it drives, it actually, its optimal function is to drive your digestion, your assimilation, and your elimination. Everything to do with digestion, you guys, everything to do with digestion. And coming from me, someone that has actually always had very good nutrition, very good exercise, fitness, and wellness. I mean, in terms of controlling those things, I've always been very good at it. I've made it a thing. I've made it a priority to make sure that I'm giving my body good food, good supplements, and I've been working recently on better sleep. Okay, because sleep plays a major role in our overall health. And so listen to this. It says, we first want to remember that the vagus nerve is 80% of our parasympathetic nervous system. Okay. So think of this as our rest and digest system, the vagus nerve, our rest and digest system. For us to have optimal digestion, we have to be in a calm and safe state. Now, I don't know about you, but we all have so many stressors in our life. I know this to be true. It really comes down to the idea of how are we handling stress, right? And they toss that around a lot. How's your stress level? How do you manage your stress? But you know what? It really is a big deal. It really is a thing. It plays a major role, honest to God. It really does. It plays a major role in how our bodies are functioning. And I would say that emotional intelligence plays a role, because if we don't know how to manage our emotions, and I would say I was a little bit of a late bloomer there for sure. Everybody matures at different time, at different levels. And I will tell you that I have always been a highly emotional individual, highly emotional, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? And in recent years, I have figured out a way to manage that. And that just comes with maturity most times. Hi, Jill. Thanks for joining. We're talking about the vagus nerve tonight. And, now my clock's going to go off. Jill, where are you guys at? I'm trying to remember where you guys live. I know it's Jill and Tim. Great to see you. Great to see you. This is Kim Miller, Northern California. And we've been talking a lot about microbiome and gut health. And tonight I am talking about 8 ways the vagus nerve is involved in your digestion. And I think there's just so many ways coming to you live from Instagram, from Facebook, and from YouTube. So don't mind, there's backing that's going on. There's a lot of things going on, but the most important thing is to bring this message. So here's 8 different ways that the vagus nerve is involved in your digestion. Okay, it upregulates the breakdown of solids. It upregulates the breakdown of solids. The vagus nerve upregulates your mechanical breakdown of solid food. This is important, you guys, because most of us are eating solid foods, of course, unless you have some kind of medical condition that warrants that you eat softer foods, right? So being able to break down our food before it enters the entire digestive tract, hello, is so important. Otherwise, we can have a whole host of symptoms from reflux to bloating, fat, flatulence, and so on. That's a big deal, right? That is a very big deal. And I know for a fact that those are really common symptoms: reflux, bloating, flatulence, and so on. So I would say, okay, so anyway, stimulates the secretion of saliva. When food enters our mouth, that is our first step in the digestive tract. Do you guys even know how many saliva glands we have? I understand we have hundreds of saliva glands. It blows my mind. I think it's incredible, the works of our body, of the human body, the anatomy of the human body just blows my mind. Hundreds, although there are three sets of two. There's three sets of two each in your jawline and like all the way back to your ear. There's a parotid, and I don't remember the other two. Anyway, when food enters our mouth, this is our first step in the digestive process. We have our salivary glands that releases enzymes, and that is helping break down the food before it even enters our esophagus. Okay. Number 3, this stimulates the release of digestive enzymes and bile. It stimulates your digestive enzymes coming from your pancreas as well. And this vagus nerve is a really big deal, you guys. It has a big job. The vagus nerve has a really big role. It stimulates your digestive enzymes coming from your pancreas as well as bile coming from your liver. These are very important in breaking down the food appropriately so it can continue to pass from the esophagus to the stomach, small intestine, and large intestines to be ultimately excreted. Now, what I always wonder there, they don't mention anything about the gallbladder at that point. Anybody that's had their gallbladder out, I have. And I would venture to say that my digestive issues have started most definitely after my gallbladder was out. So I think there's something to that, but they're not talking about that at all. So it's kind of interesting. I think that they're not talking about that, but maybe, hey, it's still early. Okay, stimulates. Okay, so listen. So that number 4, it allows for accommodation of food in the stomach. What does that mean? It means optical vagal tone allows for the proper accommodation of the food in the stomach. This is where hydrochloric acid and pepsin help to break down the food even further, especially our protein. Interesting. Okay. I don't think I realized that. Okay. So our stomach releases hydrochloric acid and pepsin. Did you know that? I think I knew that about pepsin because if you talk about like the Pepsid over the counter, what do they call it? The other one, a Pepsid AC, all those antacids. Our stomach's really made to release those acids. And here's something I don't want to get off on a tangent, but all those drugs that they give us to reduce the acid in our stomach is actually making us sick, you guys, because it's reducing our ability to break things down. Did you know that? That's why on the box of on every prescription or over the counter medicine for indigestion, for that reflux, for the Pepsid AC, all of those, it's Prilosec is what I was thinking of. Is that you're not supposed to use it for more than 14 days. It is for intermittent use. It is not for daily use. And there's a reason our bodies need the acids in our system. They do. And somehow, the doctors put people on them for a long period of time. Actually, they put me on it first time ever. And I've been on it. I was on it for a couple months and I was like, this is not good. This cannot be good. So I looked it up and sure enough, it says 14 days is the max that anybody should be on it. Because what it does is it halts what your body's doing. It stops your body from doing its best work. So I realized we can have too much acid and that's what causes reflux. But listen, there's a balance that has to happen. So the vagus nerve, here's the 5th thing. This is like so educational. Not tip number 5. The 5th way that the vagus nerve helps us in digestion, it slows gastric emptying. This vagus nerve, there's something very important about it, you guys. And if you did you know that there's a mind gut connection, and the vagus nerve is the pathway? Did you know that? It's so it's really important that the vagus nerve is healthy, um, that it can do its job. We're talking about five. Listen, the fifth way that the vagus nerve does its job in helping us digest our food, it slows gastric emptying. Why is that important? It's because we don't want the food to pass through too quickly, because we want to make sure we get all the absorption, all the proper nutrients that we the whole reason for eating our food is to get the nutrients from the food, and 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 eliminate the what we don't need, right? So that is highly important. Number six, it coordinates being all the nutrients. It's happening in our digestive tract. So if our intestines aren't moving well, okay, if they're not moving well, then if it's the food isn't passing through well, it causes bigger problems. Listen, when food comes to the small intestine, that is where we're absorbing our nutrients, right? We just said that. Then the food has to pass through to the large intestine and ultimately excreted via the rectum, right? Our migrating motor complex is very critical in the small intestine, which creates a wave-like action. You guys, sorry to be so sciencey. I love to have a lot more fun, but this vagus nerve, oh my word. I know I'm not the only one. There is so much to our digestion. There's so much. And when it's not working properly, it is miserable. And I know how many people that I know that are either on acids, they're on the Prilosec, they're taking, a lot of people are taking Tums, which they should never take the Tums. They really shouldn't even take the Prilosec. There's other things to do, and we'll talk about that another night. But tonight, I'm just going to give you, my biggest thing is letting you know how important the vagus nerve is, because there is a connection between the mind and the gut. And if that vagus nerve isn't able to do its job well, you can see all the areas that I'm talking about that are affected if that vagus nerve is not well. So tonight we're just going to talk about the 8 ways and what the vagus nerve is supposed to do. And then I'm going to come back another night and we're going to talk about what happens when the vagus nerve can't do that. Okay. And how it shows up in different areas. Okay. Numbers. Okay. So he's just said when food, I did talk about that. Our migrating, okay. Our migrating motor complex is very critical in the small intestine, and it creates a wave-like. I did say that. So it moves through the large intestine, this essential function that's dependent on the vagus nerve. Who knew, you guys? Hello, who knew all these things? Number 7, decreases inflammation and intestinal permeability. This one is it. I mean, I want to hit the buzzer. It's like, because it's inflamed, it's upset, it's unhappy. So we can put all this good stuff in. All it's doing is loading up. It's just loading up, but it's not, our body's not getting the benefit of it. It's very, very important. So the vagus nerve, the job of the vagus nerve is to decrease inflammation and intestinal permeability. Intestinal permeability is also referred to as leaky gut. Who's heard of leaky gut? Anyone? Leaky gut in the comments, hashtag leaky gut. When we do not have proper function of the vagus nerve, proper motility, and proper assimilation of the nutrients, these tight junctions in the epithelial lining of the gut lose their integrity. Yeah. This allows pathogens, toxins, undigested food, and bacteria to move through the bloodstream, igniting the immune system, causing an inflammatory response. This is it, you guys. This is what I've been getting to. This can cause a whole host of chronic health conditions. That number 7, I would say, is the biggest one. I just want to put in all bold letters. Okay. All those other things you're listening, you're hearing all the different ways that the vagus nerve works in our body and the job that it has. Number 8, it increases satiety. You know, how satisfied you are with your food. Listen, if you have optimal vagus nerve function and tone, you'll be able to easily recognize when you're hungry and when you are full. Anybody keep eating after they're full, they don't realize they're full? Or or you're not hungry at all. I go through days where I'm not hungry at all. And then other days I feel like I could eat a horse. And not that I would do that, but oh my gosh, some days like where I can't get enough. And other days I literally forget to eat. It's like that. So this is what we're talking about. Okay. If you have if you have optical nerve, vagus nerve function and tone, then your body tells you gives you the right message to your brain that you're hungry or that you're full. Now, when this is disrupted and you have a low vagal tone, often you will see this is difficult to determine. You may eat too much or you may not eat enough. This is a simple but important concept in terms of weight loss and overall health and performance. As you can see, the vagus nerve has a tremendous impact on our digestive system. It is innervating the entire digestive tract. This is a great article. If you guys are interested in me sharing that with you, you let me know. Put hashtag article in the comments and I'll forward it to you. And listen, if you're experiencing chronic stress, low vagal tone, frustration, anger, worry, anxiety, or if you're in a freeze state, your gut health can be deeply, deeply affected. Many gut issues, such as the leaky gut, IBS, and SIBO. And SIBO, I forget what that is, but it's irritable bowel, I think that's obstruction, are linked to some of the above. It is important to think of this from a global integrated perspective. You get it? The vagus nerve is like the mind body. It runs the show. You might say the vagus nerve runs the show. Oh my gosh, that is like, I'd heard of the vagus nerve, never done any research. And yes, I'm a little blown away. In order to improve it, we also have to improve our vagus nerve function in order to improve our gut health, you guys. So that is what I'm focusing on. I'm going to be bringing more to you. There's a lot more on this, and I think I'll bring it in in a different session, but I'm going to give you one tip for a vagus nerve hack that's, I found this at themovementparadigm.com. I love sharing great information. Here's one way. If you're experiencing acid reflux, bloating, constipation, and poor digestion, then this vagus nerve hack is definitely for you. Are you ready? In order to have optimal digestion, we need a lot of blood flow to our digestive tract. So when we're in a fight or flight state or stress state, the blood is moving away from our digestive system, which will slow gastric mobility. Oh my gosh. Oh, so diaphragmatic, what do they call it? Diaphragmatic breathing before you eat brings the blood flow to your stomach. Isn't that something? That's so smart. So the point is, if you're all stressed and in a hurry, and most of us are stressed and in a hurry, I mean, anybody eating on the run? Anybody eating while you're doing dishes? I mean, that's me. I do that so often. It's ridiculous. I'll eat at my desk. Totally horrible habit. Horrible habit. We should never be eating at our desk. We should be getting up. We should be going somewhere separate, hopefully outside, to sit and eat. So we need to separate ourselves. But the idea, simply taking 3 to 10 diaphragmatic breaths from down deep in your diaphragm, okay? It communicates. Listen to this. It'll help your digestion immensely. It is important to calm the nervous system before eating so that we can truly rest and digest. And do you know what's really funny about that is that my mother-in-law used to say, "Hi, Jules. So great to see you. Oh my goodness, we're talking about the vagus nerve and just digestion and how the mind and body connection is such a real thing." And you'll appreciate this because you're a vocal coach. A way to aid in digestion is to do diaphragmatic breathing before a meal. It says 3 to 10 breaths before you eat will help you help your digestion tremendously. It's also Oh my gosh, isn't that something? It's such an easy little hack, yet it's so important. So there you go. You got your hack. There's one hack. We're going to start talking about this a little bit more because I honestly believe we want to optimize the biodirectional communication between our gut and our brain because 80%, this is saying 80% of the afferent information is coming from the gut up to the brain. That's scary. And if our gut health isn't healthy, do you think our mind's getting a good message? I digress. I don't think so. I don't think so. So I think we need to focus on this a little bit more. What do you guys say? It is my mission to figure out how to overcome, leaky gut, digestion issues, IBS, and I know that for so many people it's chronic. And I do believe that there's a way for us to be healthier. So that is my goal. So I hope you enjoyed this tonight. It was really important that I came back and talked about the vagus nerve. Who's here? Give me a wave, would you? I would love to see who's here. Let me look and see if I can see on Facebook. I'm going to bring up my other one so that I can talk to you. It's just so good to see you here. And the vagus nerve is such a big conversation, especially if you've ever had gut issues, you guys, any digestion issues. It's a real thing. And tonight I'm actually live on 3 different platforms. Oh my gosh, let me see. I'm having some issues here. I'm having issues, but who didn't know that already? That's okay. That's okay. I'm gonna sign off. It's been a great conversation. If you have any questions, do reach out, do say hello. If you're watching on the replay, let me know. I would love to know your biggest takeaway of the 8 ways of the vagus nerve that what the vagus nerve does for us. What was your biggest takeaway? What was your biggest surprise? And what do you think has the biggest impact? Pick one of those things. Just did you find some value? If you did, do hashtag value in the comments, would you? This is there's just so much more to come on this. As there's just I think that it's a really big conversation that isn't had nearly enough, and doctors are just all too quick to get their prescription pads out and give you antidepressants, give you what do they call it? Antacids, digestion aids. Um, I don't even want to. I had a doctor that wanted to put me on metformin, and my A1C is like 3. It's like I'm not even on the scale for diabetes. I guess they're using metformin for different things now. No, I don't want to solve my digestion issues with a prescription that's going to give me more side effects. I don't have any prescriptions. I take a thyroid pill and that's it. Everything else is a la natural. Hormone creams. Other than that, nothing except supplements. So you guys, listen. Have a wonderful night. We'll be back here. I think I'll come back on Thursday night to tackle another part of the vagus nerve, mind body. I think we need to touch a little bit more about how the vagus nerve connects the mind and body. What do you think? All right, guys, have a wonderful evening. Reach out if you've got any questions. If you're interested in the article that I shared from, love to share that with you. Knowledge is power, and the one thing I know is if we know better, we do better, and if we do better, we should share it. If we know better, we should do better, and if we're doing better, we should share it. Something like that. Yes. So anyhow, okay. Good night, everybody. Have a wonderful day tomorrow. Be blessed. Good night.